Hey, what's up, people? It's me, Tony, TTBurger88, and welcome back to TTBurger Game Reviews. And today I'd like to welcome you all to another multi-part series review, and I was going to review some James Bond games, but I was having trouble beating some of them, so I'm going to review a different series instead. When this series started off as a launch title for the PlayStation 2, and then worked its way as a multi-platform game later on in its lifespan. Now, let's go back to the year 2000, right around the time the PlayStation 2 was launched and released here in the United States. Now, I already mentioned that I got my PlayStation 2 on Christmas Eve of the year 2000, and I got quite a few games for it. I got games like Tekken Tag Tournament, SSX, Smuggler's Run, Summoner, and more. But for today, we're going to be looking at the series that stood up as a launch title first-person shooter for the PlayStation 2, and that's the TimeSplitters Series by Free Radical. This will be divided up into 3 parts. Part 1, we're going to look at TimeSplitters. Part 2, we're going to look at TimeSplitters 2, and Part 3, we're going to look at TimeSplitters Future Perfect. Now we got a lot to talk about here. Let's get started with TimeSplitters for the PlayStation 2, released in the year 2000 by Free Radical Entertainment. Now, the TimeSplitters is definitely one of those recommended games for the PlayStation 2 and one of the most memorable launch titles as well. Because I know when first-person shooters were out back then, a lot of first-person shooters were trying to compete with games such as GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Medal of Honor and stuff, and because each console had their very own memorable first-person shooter that you know and to love. Like the Nintendo 64 had GoldenEye 64 and Perfect Dark, which are 2 of my favorite Nintendo 64 games of all time, along with Jet Force Gemini, which was a third-person game made by Rareware as well, but that's off topic. And for the PlayStation, like I said, we had Medal of Honor, because Medal of Honor was pretty much the GoldenEye of the PlayStation, and of course that had sequel Medal of Honor Underground, which was okay, it just wasn't as good as the original Medal of Honor, but still I recommend it out there. But then we get TimeSplitters, which was made by some people who made GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, and this game definitely shows that it was pretty much the PlayStation 2's GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, and it delivers really well. And it is a little light on content compared to its 2 successors and such, but as a game by itself that just came out by itself, this game was definitely highly recommended. I mean, remember when we got it when we got our PlayStation 2 on Christmas Day? I was watching my dad play this game, and it was one of the first PlayStation 2 games, or in general, where you had to use these shoulder buttons to shoot, and it was exclusive. We had to use the analog sticks to move, and I was used to using the directional pad with the PlayStation 1, so I was kind of getting used to using the analog sticks, but you were able to use them right away. Now, TimeSplitters' storyline is pretty much like nothing deep or anything like that. It's basically a storyline that gets you from point A to point B, and the story takes place in different times and stuff. It takes place in 1935, the year 2020, 2005, the 1973 and stuff, and it takes place in different locations, take place in ancient Egypt, or other places like China, or in space, in the future, or industrial areas, stuff It's a big variety, and each level you play as 2 different characters, a male or a female. You play as characters like Captain Ash, or Lady Jane, or Detective Harry Tipper, or Lieutenant Christine Malone, or so and so and so on and so on. And each character is different, and it just there's no differences between the characters you pick the levels, except for the different time you have different weapons each time you go to. For in certain places you have a pistol, or Uzis, or a Mauler pistol, or a Tommy gun, or a shotgun, or a blunderbuss, which is a different type of shotgun, and more and more. And the story is just mission briefings, you go and retrieve this and bring it back to the beginning and such. It's basically what it is. You go get the item, bring it back. And that's basically what it is. It's just simple fun. Now for the game's presentation looks great for a PlayStation 2 launch title. I mean, the gun models look fantastic, the environments look nice, there's no dip in the frame rate whatsoever, and the character models look detailed. I do wish the characters had more lines of dialogue, but that's just me though. But it's not a huge deal at all. It's just that, it's just this was a PlayStation 2 stuff, but that's just different. And now for the sound is also really good here too. Sound is like, there's not much voice acting except for like, the lines from the characters when you pick them, like, it's like, okay, or, oh yeah, let's do it, am I ready for this, no problem, let's go, and stuff. It's like, just basically one-liners you hear from the characters, but that's basically it. And there's basically not much to say about the sound. The sound is just like that, but of course the music is really good too. Like, I like the music, it fits each level perfectly, and I like the sound here. And now let's get into the gameplay. And the gameplay, like I said, it's a simple first-person shooter where you just shoot enemies and pick up an item and deliver it back to the beginning and such, or wherever the red circle is that we're supposed to deliver it to. It's basically plain simple fun. The controls may take some time to get used to for people who aren't like used to like using the analog lock controls at the time and stuff. I mean, it took some time to get used to, but like that's fine with me. One thing I do not like though is that like the invert aim option is select to on, and I really don't like using invert aim in games like that, because in games and stuff, because I'm just fine. I just don't like using the invert aim so that's just kind of a small turnoff there, but still it's nothing that affects the game at all. So I'm just saying, that's all. Aside from the story mode, you also have an arcade mode as well, for like the one-player mode, and you pretty much can unlock characters and levels and stuff and player bots that you can use in arcade mode that you unlock in story mode too, and that's really cool there. Now, the story mode is just a small part of the game. Like, you'll breeze through the story very quickly, but after that you have other things you can do. Like, you can play like co-op with a friend, or you can play deathmatch, capture the flag, and I mean it does. I mean, I know GGG Man Lives mentioned this, how the game does at first seem lag content and stuff, but as you play the other modes, the game is full of content. Like, you got a lot of stuff to do in the arcade mode. You got the story mode too, and even when you choose the difficulty selection here, like, it'll make the level longer. And that's really cool there. Like, I never played a game at the time where the level was longer based on the difficulty, so that was something new in me. Like, I mean, like, it doesn't matter what difficulty you're playing on, the experience will still be a lot of fun, like fucking awesome. And aside from that, though, there really isn't much else to say. I mean, TimeSplitters is a simple, fun first-person shooter that started off as a launch title for the PlayStation 2. And it really showed that, like, next generation first-person shooters were expanding and games were expanding and stuff, and the 6th generation of gaming was only going to get better as a start. Like, it started with the PlayStation 2, then it got the GameCube, then the Xbox, and more games came on. And this game is awesome. I love it. So what's my final verdict here? Well, TimeSplitters is fucking awesome. It's definitely one of the best first-person shooters ever made, along with one of the best PlayStation 2 games and best launch titles for the PlayStation 2 as well. I will not be giving it a perfect 10 because of the minor nitpicks I had with it, but I will still be giving it a very high score of a 9 out of 10. It's a great game, one of the best. It was a great launch title, and it started off great for a series that would only get better. Now, for the next part, we're going to be looking at the TimeSplitters game that was released as a multi-platform too, like it was released on the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and the GameCube. And we got TimeSplitters 2, also made by Free Radical. And we'll be looking at this game next, so stay tuned for that. Peace out, everybody.